Welcome to the 2017 HR Today Forum EMEA iTalent competition. So I've just briefed the judges, and they are prepared for this year's event. The judges will be introduced to you shortly, and I'm going to actually turn it right over. SocialTalent, and specifically Johnny Campbell, has been hosting this for a couple years now. You know, it does a great job. SocialTalent gets technology. They have great technology in their own company, and they deal with a lot of people in that space. So they're very good people when it comes to being able to assess and give us feedback on technology. So really happy that Vincent O'Donoghue, co-founder of SocialTalent, is here to be your host for our 2017 iTalent competition. Vincent?
Thank you. Hey guys, thank you. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Yeah, look, we do see a lot of technology, and it's brilliant, but I must say I get overwhelmed by it sometimes, and people will ask me, what do you think of this site or this product? And I'm going, shit, I don't have a clue, because there's just so many of them. There's so many technologies, so many sites, so many services all coming at you, and it's every day we see new ones. What I love about this, about iTalent and competitions like this, is it gives you an opportunity to see the cream of that kind of, that new crop of technology coming through, and give you a quick snapshot and summary. So you learn a lot, which is brilliant. So delighted to be here, and again, I need to change that photo, and good luck to all the contestants. It should be a bit of a roller coaster and a very, very fast moving process, but let me give you the nuts and bolts of it. So we have 5 finalists, 5 fantastic companies. We've James from Peachy Mondays, which I would love. I wish we had taken that name earlier. It's a fantastic name. Andrew Brown from Lumesse, Julian from WCN, Tom Maynard, who has come in at the last minute to represent Beamery, and Kimberly, who's come all the way from Seattle, I think. So fair dues. Okay, so there are finalists, 5 fantastic companies, and they have to face the judges, one of whom is Peter Hart, who is last year's winner from Rideau. And Peter just telling me about his experience of living in Ireland for 4 years, which is brilliant. Life-changing event, of which we all have some, and hopefully today's winner will, it'll represent some kind of benchmark in their lives as well, our crossroads. So our full judging panel that the team have to face up to, the four people in front of you, but also you guys, you're going to be part of the judging faction. So we've got Elliot Clark from Shared Expertise, Peter, who I've introduced, Shane Gray from Clinch, and Debbie Bola from HRO Today. I think you probably know. You certainly know Elliot and Debbie from HRO and Shared Expertise. Peter, you've met yesterday, and Shane is a Dublin man. I think it's Dublin. Are you near enough to Dublin? Wicklow. And Clinch are a marketing automation company. Is that fair to say? Close enough. So the process. Each presenter will have 5 minutes. And it's a tight 5 minutes. The mic will go off after 5 minutes. There isn't an extra second. It's tight on 5 minutes. So that's it. They need to be brief, need to be concise. And again, benefit for you guys is you get to learn about new tech in a 5-minute period. Whereas Tom from Beamery tells me that he has 60 slides to get through in 5 minutes, which will be pretty impressive stuff if he does it. So it should be interesting. So that's the process. I would all ask you to open up your, make sure you've downloaded the app if you haven't done so already. If you could do it now before the end of the event, because you're going to be asked to vote for this year's winner, and it's really important that you're part of this process. And obviously that will be combined then with our esteemed judging panel to come up with the winner of this year's iTalent. So without too much more conversation, I'll bring up the first person, who is Julian Ladd from WCN, and I won't say much about WCN because he'll do that, but I was incredibly impressed to learn that Julian has done the Marathon des Sables, which is an ultra marathon in the desert somewhere in Africa, and he's an ultra runner, and just hats off to anybody who does that kind of stuff. He's obviously got a mental illness, because it's days and days through the desert. But without too much more, let's invite Julian up to the podium.
Do I take that for moving? Which of the slides? It's that one, is it? Okay. Shane, thank you very much indeed for the introduction, and delighted to share my experiences at MDS if anyone wants to at lunch. But delighted to be here today from WCN Recruit, Predictive Recruiting Scoring. I'd like to introduce. I'm just wondering which of the judges is Simon. Shane, I reckon it's you. But anyway, my 84-year-old father at the weekend asked me, so what impact is AI going to have on recruiting? Which I thought was a phenomenal question coming from an 84-year-old. So over the next 4.5 minutes, I'm going to introduce what we're doing about this particular phenomena. So we've had some phenomenal debate over the last couple of days, and thank you for the organisers for putting this on, to tease out some of those challenges and indeed opportunities that we all face in the HR talent acquisition space. And as an organisation that, numbers speaks for themselves, but what I hear from our clients and talking across the industry is just the volumes of applications that recruiters are getting. So in the research that we did, each vacancy was getting 250 applications. So multiply that by, let's say, five vacancies. That's 1,250 applications they've got to sift through in a really short space of time. So to complement our suite of talent acquisition capabilities, we've started in the last couple of years to do some work around intelligence, and that's what that's the introduction I'd like to make today. Is that our vision is to enable organisations to engage and hire the best before the rest. So intelligence then helps organisations identify the brightest stars, and we can see that decision intelligence is a true leveller, helping recruiters identify diamonds in the rough and eradicating unconscious bias and tackling diversity. And you've probably heard the stat from McKinsey that talks about this diversity piece, and for every 10% increase in diversity, profits can rise by 3.5%. So our predictive recruiting scoring algorithm, when combined with filtering tools, zero in on the very best candidates, and we've got that down now to 90% confidence rate. And this is built on information taken from application forms, test results, work experience, and achievements. So it instantly scores all candidates, identifying the top candidates to engage with. And critically, it also explains the data behind the scores for all candidates, and that's by provision of a dashboard to provide that at-a-glance summary. So this has been launched now with 10 clients, is in their systems, working with full broad range of client base, from UK government through to financial services and retail. We're processing in the region of 10,000 applications every day, and predictions for hire are now being made instantaneously, as opposed to the sort of 7 to 14 working days that historically it's taken recruiters. And indeed, some of our clients now are hiring in less than 3 days, time to hire of less than 3 days. So it's really interesting now working in the HR space. Who would have thought even 2 years ago that we would be recruiting data scientists and research professors to support this work that we're doing? But that's what we and others are now doing. So we believe that this is a real game changer in performance for talent acquisition and the whole organisation, tackling a talent scarcity, removing bias and improving diversity, and critically saving recruiters time, ultimately driving business profit, revenues and performance. So this is really about letting recruiters do what they love to do, engaging and hire candidates, putting the right people in the right jobs and delivering great outcomes. That's what really matters. I'd like to now go to the video, please, and hear from Steph, who many of us saw on stage yesterday.
WCN has played a very important and active role in helping us achieve our
So we're now flagging up to 33%.
I think we have time for a couple of questions, if you don't mind, panel.
Yeah, I have a question, Vincent. So, Julian, first of all, I want to correct one mistake. You thought that Shane was the Simon Cowell, okay? Trust me, it's me. All right, so there you go. All right. So, two questions. One, I'm training Shane, someday he may be. One, is this a standalone module on recruitment intelligence that can be bought and bolted onto any other system? So can someone who's an iSIMS user, for example, buy the predictive intelligence module from you and you have an API to hook it in?
Yeah, absolutely. So the decision intent module can be bolted into potentially other ATS providers, and we've got other tools as well, such as our events module again that can be bolted into other providers.
Has that ever actually happened yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So then the second question is, why would they? If you read at least the marketing brochures from iSIMS, from Toledo, from Brass Ring, from all the other ATS providers, they'll tell you that they have predictive scoring capabilities. Why is yours better?
So we firmly believe that, given our prominence in the industry, so 21 years we've been going, you've seen the volumes of applications that we're getting every week, 400 clients. We've got a huge amount of experience and data that we've learnt from over that period of time. So we truly believe that we're leading the space in this market.
Okay. Is there any other questions, guys?
One question, Julian. Refreshing, you didn't use the words artificial intelligence, but I imagine you do have some machine learning in there, and these algorithms are improving over time. And the question around that is, how then do you manage the issue of diversity when they potentially learn behaviors that are not necessarily diverse in nature?
Yeah, and across the 10 clients that's using the algorithm at the moment, that you are absolutely correct, Shane. That's a machine learning, and we're working with those clients to understand, what biases have gone before, and correcting the algorithm. That's the important piece, is that we're actually correcting the algorithm as we go to ensure that we don't introduce that bias.
Just from a geographical perspective, your 400 clients all over the world, global or
global.
concentrated?
Yeah, global. I mean, the concentration is UK, North America, but obviously, many of our financial services clients are hiring out in Southeast Asia, so we have a team in Southeast Asia, etc. Global.
All right. Thanks, Julie. Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. By the way, now that I look at the panel, and I didn't get the Simon joke at the start, I was going, what are you talking about? But Louis Walt, there's an uncanny resemblance to Shane.
Last year, when I was going up there,
Yeah.
Elliot said, "You've never done anything in this amount of time, ever." All right, so
Yeah.
the rest of the contestants, okay, have it. No, at least you haven't said that so far.
All right, guys, thanks. So next up, we've got Tom, who is coming, Tom Maynard, as in the wine gums, which I identified him earlier as. I won't go any further into my wine gum obsession, but Tom is going to talk about Beamery, and again, in 60 slides in 5 minutes, which is pretty impressive. Actually 4.5 minutes, because there's a video as well. Tom hasn't run the Marathon des Sables, to the best of my knowledge, but has done something much, much harder. He has been a lifelong Everton fan, which as everybody knows, if you know football, is much more suffering than any run in the desert. Okay, Tom, hit it.
In the last 15 years, over half of Fortune 500 companies have now disappeared. The life expectancy of those companies has decreased from 75 years down to 15 years. Now let that sink in for a moment. We already live in a customer-centric era. What does that mean? It means titans like Amazon, Uber, Netflix, Airbnb will change the way we look to focus and build out customer journeys, enhancing the customer experience. But now we live in a candidate-centric era. We need to start putting talent first, and companies that don't will perish. My name's Tom Maynard. I'm one of the account directors here at Beamery, and Beamery is one of the world's most advanced talent CRM marketing platform. So let's focus on why we're here for a moment. And this is all to do with moving away from being reactive to proactive, understanding candidates and no longer replying. So how do we start cutting through the noise and start engaging passive talent? And all comes down to understanding actually the fundamentals of how sales teams have been working for years, understanding that I can have conversations with you guys today, but you might not be willing to buy a product for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, whatever it may be, but it's about me growing a relationship with you guys over the long haul. So therefore, in order to do so, we need to make sure we have personalized experience, we're offering consistent value, and we're consistently sending the right message. But from a modern talent acquisition team perspective, what do we need to have in place? We need to make sure that we can communicate instantly, we can find everything everywhere, and we're always moving faster and faster. But evidently, there is a skills gap. And this is what's actually expected of us individually now as recruiters. We're meant to be experts in pretty much every single area. However, recruitment marketing is not something that is new, it's an old concept, and it's the technology that closes the skills gap that is new. So I'm going to now introduce you quickly into Beamery. There's going to be 3 pillars we're going to talk about really quickly. First is being data, which is ultimately how do we centralize all the data, all the different data silos, and effectively make that data reliable again. How are we able to then harness the data we do have to customize the candidate experience? And then lastly, analytics. We talked around sales teams earlier. A sales director wouldn't walk into a meeting with a CEO if he didn't have a reliable forecast. So why have we been doing that with recruitment? So let's focus on data. We already have a ton of private data that's buried within our applicant tracking systems. Imagine if we could harness all that information and tell you the exact communication threads that you've been having with candidates for years. Being able to then tell you where candidates currently work, so you never have to manually update a profile again and fulfill you with all their social links. And then lastly, being able to tell you how they're behaving with your website, what events they've been to, what blogs they're looking at. So let's focus back onto data and talk about how we become the single source of truth. I'm just going to bring you up a couple of snapshots of the product. Ultimately, Beamery helps you aggregate all the social profiles. We integrate seamlessly with your applicant tracking system, being able to pull through previous historical data, but also telling you where candidates exist within the hiring process. We can tell you recent emails, who the closest recruiters are to certain candidates, harnessing machine learning. We can also spot duplicates in a way that no other system can by using data intelligence. And ultimately, this is all about how we move away from being a traditional candidate record into something which is in real time, harnessing social, demographic, behavioral, and integrational data. When we get data right, it's all about how do we then customize the candidate experience. So I'm going to show you a new product of ours called the Journey Builder. And in the instance here, I'm going to use Facebook as one of our landing pages. They've developed a talent community. When a candidate approaches our talent community, they sign up through one of our sign-up forms. Harnessing social data, we can then parse all the information into necessary boxes for them. When we receive this information in the back end, this is where Beamery does the clever thing. We can then assign these people into necessary talent pools, automatically harnessing the data intelligence, automatically assign them to a particular user, so a recruiter, but then also make sure that in a couple of days they're going to receive a personalized email from us. However, we need to go a step beyond that. How do we differentiate between prospects that are engaged and those that aren't? For those that click on the email, we can approach them and put them into another talent pool called engaged, and we can also then make sure that we're sending them an SMS, because we always want to mix up the way that we're communicating with candidates. However, for those that didn't click on the email, they're still important to us because it's all about how we build a brand and how we build brand advocates. So for these individuals, let's send them a monthly newsletter and make sure they're still being engaged for the long haul. And ultimately, this is Beamery Journey Builder and how we're able to harness behavioral, enrich data, and integration data. Now, lastly, we're going to jump straight into analytics. And this is all really to do with sort of what the executives are looking to look at. How they want to obviously be able to see how much cost per hire is, how much time to hire is, how long it's taking you to submit a resume. When we look at sourcing effectiveness, how useful would it be if we could actually see a leaderboard of all the different recruiters within our team, for instance, and we can start measuring them based on key metrics such as time to hire, how long it takes them to get a prospect to interview, etc., and how that differentiates between the different departments. And then lastly, we also have the page dashboard. And then finally, just to finish off here, a little bit about us. So we founded just over 4 years ago. I'm based in London, which is where 90% of the team are located. We've got offices now in San Francisco and Austin. And as you can see here, some of our clients as well. So Facebook and VM are very early adopters of the system. And more recently, we've had the fortunate of working with Balfour Beatty. That's it.
All right. I think you'd be good in speed dating. Get the message across. Panel, any questions for Tom on Beamery?
How did you learn to speak so fast?
Scouts.
Yeah. So it's eat or be eaten in Liverpool, you know. Yeah.
I have a question. So once you are engaging with the candidates and sending them messaging, does this technology measure how they engage with that communication?
Yeah.
And can you provide information to your clients about what the best way to engage with that particular candidate is?
Yeah, so we can provide full campaign analytics. That can be sort of on an overall company level or actually based on different department levels or even individual users. So you can break that down, and if you're a user, I can tell you exactly what emails are working, what aren't working. So then it really becomes a context of actually we can start sharing ideas. Within sales especially, there'll be certain templates or emails that we use that are really effective in terms of open rates, replied rates, click rates. You can start sharing that knowledge around between different departments so other people can obviously start utilizing that to see whether it would suit them in terms of the way that they recruit.
You still talk really fast. And you don't have time on it. So, you know, interesting product, and part of it is that it actually, you don't have to ask the same question, that everyone has to answer, which is, how are you differentiated? You know, Avature says they can do this, right? Mm-hmm. There's Smashfly,
they can't.
It's almost like there's a CRM a day now because there's just, so much money flowing into the HCM space. Mm. But it looks like you've actually got a very clean, easy layout to work with, and the data comes back very quickly to the dashboards based on what I was saying. But just give me some example of how you see yourself differentiated, other than just say, well, they can't, we can. I don't want to hear that. But what's the differentiator for this CRM at Beamery versus going through a CRM? Because you put up a whole list of ATSs, right? And I was one time the COO at Connexa, right? So we claimed we had that capability, and there wasn't this developed in those days because we still used clay tablets back then. But my point is, how are you different? What is the big differentiators from the Avatures, the Smashflies, et cetera?
So I can answer that question in two parts. From a technological perspective, I think there's three key areas to point out. The first of which is how we're able to integrate with certain systems, such as your ATSs or your HRIS systems. It's not just about API connectivity. Let's be honest, lots of applicant tracking systems don't even have an API. We can build out manual integration, so no matter what happens, there's still a two-way process of pushing and pulling data, and it's not limited to first name, last name, email addresses. It's everything. It's pulling out vacancy history, it's pulling out notes and everything, and making sure that they're stored within the system. So when you look within Beamery, you see a holistic single candidate record within the database, which then leads me on to the second piece, which is data intelligence. We're the only system currently at the moment that can keep all of your profiles up to date automatically. Facebook currently have 2 million records within the database. They don't have to update those profiles using Beamery. They're just automatically updated. We can tell you when candidates change jobs, when their job titles change, etc. That's something which is done and obviously helps deduplicate a lot of information. And then obviously then the last piece is marketing automation. Lots of companies claim they do marketing automation, but how many layers does that go? If we can create an email trend that is 4 to 5 layers deep with behavioral interactions triggering based off how candidates are looking at our emails or what events they've been to, etc. That's a little bit beyond what Avature and other sort of companies can do. And then finally, moving away from the technological side, you didn't actually get the chance to really look at the platform today, but if we'd done a proper demo, you'd see just how clean it is. I think it was quite clear, even with applicant tracking systems, everything can look really clunky. And with people here, we just wanted something which is really easy to use. And when you look at Beamery, there's not lots of buttons, there's not lots of different options, it's just really clean. And we really try to harness the automation piece within that to make sure everything runs smoothly.
All right, thank you.
How long is your 30-second elevator pitch? Is it like 3 seconds? Okay. Thanks, Tom. Any other questions? You. I think we thank you very much. Thanks, Tom. So next up, we've got Kimberly Pad Lee from a company called Weave. And I did go onto the Weave website to try and understand what you guys do. But there's lots of content there on Rihanna. And about 20 minutes later, I found myself just still looking at Rihanna. So I'm looking forward to being enlightened. But I guess that's part of what you do is make engaging and content. So maybe it worked.
Testing. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Kimberly Pad Lee of Weave. We are an artificial intelligence-based startup in Seattle, led by former Amazon scientists. The key problem Weave is solving is to lower the ever-rising costs it takes to acquire and retain talent. Competition is at an all-time high, as is the cost per hire, which is around $4,000 currently. And we have entered the age of recruitment marketing, where recruiters are essentially trying to adapt practices that marketers have been using for a long time. And one of the key approaches to marketing is storytelling. And through this, we have learned that with better acquisition, recruiting, onboarding content, it leads to higher engagement and more candidates qualified. But storytelling is hard and costly to execute and scale, and today's marketers are seeing an all-time low in the content they produce, with about 95% of that outbound messages which get zero engagement. Career decisions are also highly personal, and every candidate is going to have different criteria and interests as to whether or not they apply to a position or accept one. And that's where Weave comes in. Weave is an AI-powered visual storytelling platform with highly automated and scalable publishing at multiple touch points. Our focus is to put the candidate at the center of the customer experience. So let me show you a quick demo. A customer of ours was seeing very poor engagement on the job descriptions they were sending out. Here we have the before. And after Weave, here's the after. Using the power of AI, we transformed that job description into a visual landscape, which we call a Weave. It offers a 360-degree view of the position and immediately engages the candidate with multiple calls to action, whether it be with different multimedia, information on the company's technology, their key investors, down to who they might be working with on that specific team. And this video isn't playing, but it is a video of the CEO being interviewed by Bloomberg, content that might have otherwise never been seen by the candidate. And the great thing about Weave is that the users don't have to search the information, it comes to them, which enhances the candidate experience. The engine does this by extracting and analyzing the text that you saw in the previous job description and pulling information from authoritative sources. And as the system gets smarter and learns more about the candidate, those cards that you see will move around and become more personalized to that individual, truly making it the modern job description. And after we transformed this, the engagement lift was 55 to 60 full, and candidates were on this for an average of 41 minutes. So let's take another look at a different example. Another client of ours based in NYC, Oscar Health, they were having difficulty competing with other companies for top talent, and our solution was to create them an employer brand Weave. Like before, we used our technology to pull all relevant and meaningful content on the company. And with every click, Weave provides trackable and measurable analytics, letting employers know what drives engagement. What do the candidates like? What do they spend time on? And personas can be built on actual user behavior. Another unique thing about Weave is that it is always up to date. As soon as a company tweets or has an article write-up, the engine will recognize this and automatically update the Weave, ensuring that the content they produce or any authoritative source produces is seen. And now companies can create content in a more scalable way by repurposing information that is already out there, dramatically reducing the time and cost to do so otherwise. Back to the presentation. Our customers are seeing a 55 increase full of engagement, 3-fold decreased time to fill, and 40% reduction in cost. Weave is comprehensive, visual, personalized, automated, scalable, and measurable. And without further ado, we have a testimonial video from one of our customers. Thank you, and you can visit us at weave.me.
Kimberly.
Thank you. I was nervous at the beginning.
So panel, have you got any questions for Kimberly about Weave?
Hi, Kimberly.
Hi.
How do you deploy this? Does it sit on top of an applicant tracking system, and what type of integrations are necessary?
Yeah, so right now, currently, we are building like a login system for candidates to log into, but currently we have widgets that we send to our customers, and they send them out through email. So when a candidate receives an email from that employer, they see kind of a snapshot of what the weave looks like, which immediately engages them. They see something that's visual and multimedia based, beyond your average job description, so that entices them to click on it. And they also have links to them on their website as well. Yeah.
Any other questions?
How's your jet lag? Now, I guess the question I would have is, you said that it'll adapt to the candidate to enhance the user experience and the candidate experience. From where is it getting that data, or does it have to learn it over time from how the candidate reacts to different weaves? So if I'm only looking to hire somebody one time, the first time they log on, is it a standard template? And then it changes as I log on more and more as a candidate?
Yeah, we currently use a standard template because we want users to recognize the layout, but the cards that you see will move around to that individual. If they click on something specific, we can move those cards up for that individual. The system will recognize that. They spend more time on that card.
So this is not necessarily job posting based. This is more the company's career center that you're really reworking through the weave.
Correct, and I just showed you 2 touch points that we do, job descriptions and employer brand weaves. We are also expanding to different types of weaves for HR solutions. Those were just 2 examples.
And Kimberly, you guys do weaves for other industries as well? These are lessons learned from everything from...
Correct, yeah.
EMEA
We are flying multiple verticals at once. At the same time, we do music and entertainment weaves as well, but we're picking up a lot of momentum and traction with recruitment marketing, and now we have paying customers, so this is just the beginning for us in that market.
Okay. Anything else? No? Okay. Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you very much.
So, next up we have Andrew Brown from Lumesse. And I think certainly all the RPO providers here will know of Lumesse. And I did check out your website yesterday. You do kind of everything, which is cool. So without much further ado, Andrew.
Thank you very much. So what I wanted to talk to you through today is almost provide a case study, prove what we're doing. Prove what we're doing out in the total talent space. So before I kick off, I'm going to show the video to start off with, and then we'll go into the presentation.
They helped us understand some of our problems as opposed to just purely creating solutions that would be more expensive. So by partnering with us, they actually helped us understand better the workflows that would help keep our business community profitable.
So that was the CEO of GreenPark. Now, GreenPark approached us about 9 months ago with a really interesting opportunity. And for those who don't know them, they're working with the British government at the moment to manage all of the Brexit staffing changes in all the embassies globally. So a super interesting, super relevant topic. They required a technology solution which enabled them to manage all worker types, irrespective of type, from permanent to contract to statement of work. Most importantly, they needed a technology which could provide consistent, insightful analytics. Oh, there we go. So today, Lumesse powers 4 different British government departments, from South America to Middle East to Europe, through one solution using its unique multi-tenant blended workforce platform. It provides GreenPark with the tools they need to hire the right workers at the right times with the right skills. The hiring manager experience was critical to GreenPark. They needed an intuitive, mobile-based platform to ensure their manager could raise requisitions on the go. They needed something that would enable them to use the platform without hours of training. We provided them with TalentLink, giving them access to our latest mobile UI, which enables hiring managers to raise requisitions on the go from their mobile devices. It was critical that GreenPark had a platform which could easily connect to a number of government-held platforms, from payroll to HRS platforms. Lumesse TalentLink's open architecture enabled GreenPark to easily connect into these platforms. Further to this, the nature of the open strategy ensured that GreenPark were able to introduce the latest innovation and continually future-proof the technology for the 5-year term. Further to this, the government department cost efficiencies were also essential. A combination of technology which enabled the client to manage multiple clients or organisations, hire all types of workers, and on a completely mobile responsive platform, have access to open architecture and fundamentally have one true source of analytics across the entire workforce was a clear differentiator between Lumesse and other technology providers. Not only that, but it enabled Greenpark to evidence cost efficiencies which the system drove through an increase in automation, consolidation of technologies, and meaningful MI. Within the system, their hiring manager asked 2 questions. Where in the organisation do they want to hire, and for what organisation? So if it was a true multi-tenant approach, what organisation or where in the organisation do they want to hire? And what worker do you want to hire? Now, the outcomes of these selections drive a different workflow, a different end result. If it's a permanent contract, we'll drive a full contract with terms and conditions, e-signature, that type of thing. If it's a contract worker, you may need the ability to complete and fill in timesheets and export that information into a payroll system. Or it may require a statement of work, all possible through our solution, our unified solution. All of these outcomes can be managed. Talent provides total workforce acquisition. It enables organisations such as Greenpark to manage all worker types for a truly blended multi-tenant platform. It removes talent pool borders and opens up total talent pipelines you have at your fingertips, ensuring you have the right worker at the right time. It provides candidates and employee engagement and a leading experience. Most importantly, it provides companies with access to total workforce analytics. One true source of consolidated data across your entire recruitment need. And Greenpark are alone. We work with an increasingly large number of outsourced providers, some of which are in the room, some of which you've spoken to over the last couple of days. The shift in organisations requiring a total workforce acquisition model has driven customers to require a technology which can support a fully blended approach to their recruitment. Partnering with Lumesse enables organisations and outsourcers to execute on a total workforce strategy. That's it. Thank you.
9 seconds to spare.
There we go,
Good
eh?
man. Good man. Okay, guys, have any questions for Lumesse?
Let me just say, thank God someone's finally done it. I've been saying for a decade, why doesn't someone put an ATS together with a VMS and make a single seamless platform? Because at the end of the day, hiring is not, nowadays, whether you're hiring permanent or contingent, is a status, but in reality, all companies have both and in significantly increasing numbers. So this is an innovation because a lot of these are supposed to, blend together, but really no one's built a platform that can do so seamlessly within one database. My question is, you've got a lot of things wrapped into the platform right now, and the question now is, with all these cutting edge products coming out, such as Weave and Beamery, why are you still better?
Yep.
Your CRM, it go with your in-house module versus, for example, Beamery, which
Yep.
had an impressive presentation.
Yep, good question, thank you. We took a decision about 3 years ago to change the way that the strategy around our product. So we would traditionally build all types of innovation in-house. What we found was by taking that approach, it often left us behind the curve to a degree. So we continue to innovate in-house to a degree, but there's also best in breed out there in the marketplace that we tend to partner with. We white label them in, and then we seamlessly integrate into our technologies. So what you'll find when logging into one version of TalentLink is you may be adopting a third-party piece of innovation that the end client won't know or won't see. It will feel and look like TalentLink, but actually be driven by a third-party platform.
So Debbie Bola will reprimand me if I don't ask the follow-up question now, which is your CRM system white labeled, and if so, who is it? We
have elements of CRM within our existing platform. We are in the process of signing a CRM platform to integrate in the new year, of which I cannot share at this particular time. There's no... Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Anything else? Thanks. Thanks, Andrew. Right, our final presenter, James Anderson from Peachy Mondays, as I like the name. We have formal Fridays in SocialTalent, actually, where people actually dress up for the day because we all look like, you know, trying to look hip in our 40s. But James, Peachy Mondays, go for it. And by the way, I love on your website where it says proudly made in Scotland. I just love,
Excellent.
I love it.
Can you hear me all right? Excellent. We've got a forward and a back. Yeah, so I'm one of the founders of Peachy Mondays. We're slightly unusual here in that I think we're a real, true startup. We've only been going for about 18 months in the market. We have an employee feedback solution that makes it much, much faster than has been possible before to truly understand employee feedback and to take action on it. So that's really what drives us, is shortening the time to action. If we can run a little bit of video first, then I'll get into more detail.
It's a great tool for ensuring that your employees feel valued and listened to. The follow-on conversation is made people feel very free and open about having the honest conversations that are actually having face-to-face time.
Addressing the millennial need for speed and breakdown and prime time on a handheld device is fantastic.
So let me sort of rewind a little bit first, though, and just talk about the problem that we set out to solve. Understanding what your people think and feel is pretty fundamentally important for a whole host of reasons that we'll all be familiar with, but ultimately impacting the top and the bottom line of the organization. The problem is getting that understanding and getting it quickly is hard. And the larger the organization or the more complex the organization, the harder it becomes. The traditional survey approach is just too slow. I'm sure we've all got 100 war stories around that. Modern pulse and continuous feedback tools tend to kind of skim across the surface and don't go deep enough to give you the understanding that you need to take informed action. And in fact, all of these things suffer from the same fundamental issue. If we're talking about anonymous feedback, then the initial responses you get are a dead end. They only tell you what people think, but they don't tell you why. And you've got to understand why if you're going to take effective action. So the big idea was to replace the sort of traditional approach where you hit that dead end and then get drawn into what I call analysis paralysis, months of effort and focus groups and follow-ups, trying to work out why people said what they said in the first place so that you're empowered to take action. And it takes so long, but by the time you understand it, it's all out of date. With our platform, directly from any initial feedback, whether it's a survey or a pulse or continuous, you can ask follow-up questions directly of any group of respondents. They stay anonymous, but you can actually ask the follow-up question that you would love to be able to ask them if you knew who they were. And that actually is what empowers you to take action quickly. Let me give you a sort of a real-world example here. In this survey of 8,000 people, it's a bit topical, this one, there was a horrific number of people indicated there was a problem with bullying and harassment. Nearly 1,000 people. If that was a traditional platform, what do you do now? Because you've hit the dead end. You don't know who they are. On our platform, you can just drill in, and with a few clicks, you can message out to every single one of them. They each receive a little notification. They click through and can respond. As I said, they remain anonymous, but they know who they're speaking to on the company side, so it's kind of one-way anonymity, but allows you to get to the crux of the matter very, very quickly. The second thing we wanted to do was to try and avoid the need for lots of different feedback platforms within an organization and bring together different types of feedback in one place for the obvious reasons of consolidated analytics, etc., and also a smooth employee experience. Now, although we just launched March last year at HR Tech World in London, as of last month, we're live in 67 countries and in 12 languages. I'll leave the last few words to another couple of our customers. So there we go, the whistle-stop tour to Peachy Mondays. We tend to get involved initially around either engagement or some form of culture change, but it can be any type of sort of vertical feedback within the organization, but just making the whole process much more efficient to get to the core. So thank you very much.
Thank you, James. We've actually used Tiny Pulse, which is the shallow one, and also longer term surveys. And yeah, it does both leave an issue, so it does sound like a good kind of middle ground between the two. Judges, what?
Hi, James.
Hi.
Nice presentation. Question for you. I'm sure you read into this. You know, HR doesn't always have a huge budget for technologies, and new technologies are coming out all the time. So how do you get buy-in from them?
We're very, very good value, I think is the answer to that one. We're typically priced, including any support and consulting roundabout, at less than £1 per employee per month. So it's a SaaS model, buy in, use it when you want it, switch it off when you don't, although that actually hasn't happened yet, because people tend to run more and more bits of feedback using the platform once they get started.
Thank you.
Anything else? What kind of frequency is recommended in terms of time of asking the questions? I'll tell you why, because when we had Tiny Pulse, I found I was exhausted by all this feedback.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
so survey overload is a classic thing,
Yeah.
and actually what we encourage our customers to do is to take a step back before they begin any kind of feedback and think about a feedback strategy.
Yeah.
How often are you going to hit how many people? What are you going to ask them? Try and consolidate the effort and don't avoid overloading individuals.
Yeah.
Lots of ways of doing it. But.
I often ask my wife not to share so often. It's okay to bottle it up. Yeah. She beats me. But thank you, James. Very, very, very good. Nothing else? Anything from the audience? No? Okay. We good to progress. Okay.
Right,
Thank you, James. So we're going to have a period of time now where we're going to allow the judges to decide and make their assessment. Before you click the button on who you're voting for, can I just give you some information around what the judges are scoring each of the contestants on? First up, there's four criteria of which they score and then accumulate the total points. So maybe you could use the same thought process when you're thinking about who to press the button for. So number one is innovation. How innovative is the service or the solution? Number two, business relevance. Number three, global effectiveness. And number four, quality of pitch. So if you can think about that as you click on the app at this point. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes while Zachary does his maths. I think a couple of the things that have come through for me, there's a lot of discussion around engagement, whether it's candidates or employees. I think we're in the era of trying to engage with people, and it's hard because we're in an era of when people have low attention spans and it's hard to engage with people, but almost all of the solutions talk about candidate engagement or employee engagement, and I think what also comes through, and I've seen it on a couple of the contestants' websites, is treating the candidate as a customer or the employee as a customer. When you start to adapt that mindset towards whether it's employees or candidates, you start to think about them differently and think, well, I should be asking them questions. I want to understand what my customers want, what engages them, what will make them better, happier, etc. I think remembering that is important. Also, automation is coming through everywhere. We're all flooded with whether it's candidates or my point around the engagement of our employees. We're flooded with lots of feedback and it's hard to cope, or we're flooded with candidates. We need ways to automate and become more efficient. So all of them exhibited those kind of traits. Is the jury in? About another minute.
Your vote's in. Anyone have questions on voting or having trouble?
You all okay with the app? By the way, whoever wins, I think it's been fantastic. Five brilliant contestants showcasing their fantastic solutions. So this is a short list from a much longer list of applications. So whoever wins, everyone's a winner. As I tell my kids, when they come 5th in a race, you're great, son. You're okay. You'll survive. I did. So we're almost there. Actually, maybe Peter, last year winning this award, what did it mean to Rideau?
So it was actually an incredible experience. I know what all of the contestants are going through, and first of all, congratulations for being nominated and for the opportunity of presenting. Your heart is sort of in your mouth as that clock is ticking down.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was validation of 10 years of work, because that's what went into the solution. Validation of a lot of my team members, the work that they put into it. I think that, and since that time, it's been pretty incredible. We went into iTalent in Chicago, and we won in Chicago as well.
Okay.
And my phone hasn't stopped ringing. VCs, people that want to invest in our company, which has been...
That's huge.
It's huge, okay, I think. And I think also, okay, the HR community realizing that recognition and rewards should not be transactional, it should be relational.
Yeah.
And it's all about relationships. And I think that the work that we're doing will ultimately not only transform my company, but will transform our entire industry, in the sense that it's not about the tangible piece, it's about the intangible. It's about making people feel valued, feel appreciated, feel recognized. And I think that iTalent went a long, long way to validating that theory that started off as just a theory, and then lots of research, clinical trials, pilots, and now implementations. So I'm pretty proud of what we did. And
Brilliant.
I thank Shared Expertise and all of the folks, okay, that participated in iTalent, because I think that it lends credibility to what we do, to what we all do.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think recognition, particularly what you can become when you're, in a startup or in an environment where you're working hard for 10 years. It's just nice to get industry recognition from your peers. Look, we're all at our hearts. We don't get much further mentally past our primary school days, or when we got that gold star and went home and showed mum and dad, how good we did, and we still have that in our psyche.
I think that one of the things is that a lot of the times the companies that are here today, that are presenting today, are leading edge, cutting edge, and ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to wait for people to catch up to us.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure you know the feeling. So.
Yeah. But it's a good thing to be, good place to be. So I think we're nearly there. We have a winner.
Yes. So I'd normally just hand this to you, Vince, and you would read the winner. But for the first time, but I'm not going to do that. For the first time since I think we've had iTalent in any of the regions, we've had a tie, not only with the judges, but with your contributions based on how we score audience feedback. So in the instance of a tie, we had to check the playbook. We're going to invite both companies that tied to come on stage, and we're going to do rock, paper, scissors. I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. We thought about it, and we like how it sounds, but we're not going to do that. So we are pleased for the first time ever that we have two winners for our 2017 HRO Today Forum EMEA iTalent competition.
Are we going to have to smash the trophy in half?
We'll handle
Okay.
that.
Okay, drum roll. So the winners of this year's competition are Beamery and Lumesse. Well done, guys. So I think at this point we take some photos and do that kind of stuff. But congratulations, and we'll probably get all of the contestants back up here as well in a second for another. Do you want me to go in the middle? I'll go in the middle.
It's my good side.
I'll hold in the stomach.
Yeah, if I could just make a comment, because I was surprised when Zach showed me the results, and some people in the audience voted twice. We think there are a few partisans out there. We had to net it all out and take a look. I think this is a tribute to the fact that they're both very different, but both extremely good products, two of the best we've seen in a long time. And I think that's where both the judges and the audience split. So congratulations to both of you. It's not so much that you didn't win it all as you actually, both had such great products that it was hard for the audience to pick between the two of them, which means Lumesse should probably buy Beamery in the next 15 minutes.
I was going to say. That would solve the trophy issue as well.
Tom a nice buyout, yeah, if they would. All right.
Well, congratulations, guys. You might give them a round of applause.